In this video, we are going to review some of the problems from Mod 4. So just some of the homework and some of the questions that students have struggled with in the past. So the first question here says to fill in the blank. So the blank, when you're doing it in your Canvas, see the little number here, that's where the blank is. Okay, so let's look. It says the number line shown indicates factors that can stretch or shrink one's probable lifespan. Okay, so let's first, and anytime I'm given some type of graphic that I need to interpret, before you really jump in and read the question, analyze what it's showing you. Okay, so if you smoke cigarettes, it's going to take 15 years off of your life. See how that number is negative? And we get more negative here to the left and more positive to the right. So if you smoke cigarettes, that's going to take 15 years off your life. If you have less than 12 years of education, keeping that brain active is important, then it's going to take off 6 years. Frequently feeling stress is going to take off 5. Eating red meat more than twice a week is going to take off 5. Getting less than 6 or 8 hours of sleep is going to take off 1. Flossing daily is going to add 2 years to your life. Eating fruits and veggies is going to add 3 years to your life. Regularly working puzzles, taking some aspirin once you get older and you need that for like stroke risk and heart attack risk and things like that, can add 5 years to your life. And having a blood relative that is 95 or older adds 10 years to your life. Okay. So there's lots of different things there, but it's all describing that positive, negative, or reading that number line, okay? So you'll see it goes more negative here from 0, more positive there from 0. It says, what is the difference in lifespan between a person who gets less than 6 to 8 hours of sleep? Okay, so let me kind of highlight that. Less than 6 hours of sleep is at the -1 location. And a person who has less than 12 years of education, let's highlight that. Now, the best way, I think, to read a number line is you want to count the jumps from one location to another. Counting the lines can be a little misleading, so I count how many jumps does it take me to get to that, okay? So the difference in lifespan is how far apart are they? And so you'll notice we've gone jump 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so let's do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 jumps to get where we want. So it would be a 5-year difference. Okay, and then the next one says, what is the difference in lifespan? Okay, so let me erase what we got here so we can make it prettier. Okay, and now let's say it says between a person who gets less than 6 to 8 hours of sleep. Let's go here. And then a person who frequently feels stressed, and that is this one right here, okay? And so we can count the jumps, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the answer is that's a 4-year difference. So that's a little bit about how you would read that type of number line. Let's take a look at this one. I thought the ones that said formula were just a little odd, a little ooky, and I just thought that I wanted to show you how to do one of these. It says a recommended dose of a medication is D milligrams every 6 hours. So I'm going to take and rewrite that. I'm going to take that statement, D milligrams every 6 hours, and I'm going to write that down here, D milligrams, and I'm going to write it as a fraction every 6 hours. So the top of our fractions is the 6 or the D milligrams. The 6 hours goes underneath, and it says not to exceed M grams per day. So it has to be less than M grams per day. Okay. A patient mistakenly took double the dose at noon, then again at 6. Realizing the mistake, the patient only took half the recommended dose at midnight and half again at 6. how many grams was the patient over or under for the 24-hour period? So I'm going to make like a little chart. I think that's the best way to kind of describe it. Okay, so let's think for a second. They took double the dose at noon, so that is 2 Ds, okay? And then again at 6, another 2 Ds. Now these are in milligrams, and it's really important that we always keep in mind our units, okay? And realizing their mistake, they took a half of the dose at midnight, and then a half again at 6 a.m. Okay, so how many grams was the patient over or under by for the 24-hour period? So let's first calculate how many they took, and then let's contemplate how many should they have taken. Okay, so 2 plus 2 is 4. Half plus a half is another one. So this is 1 whole. And then 2 plus 2 plus 1 is 5 D milligram doses. They took 5. Now let's think about what they should have taken. Every 6 hours, so 4 times a day, they should have taken D. So they should have taken 4 of the D milligram doses. So they have 1 extra total dose in their body. Okay. So it says, how many grams? So always go back to that main question there. How many grams was the patient over or under by the 24-hour period? So they were 1 D dose of milligrams over. But that's not what the question asked. The question asked, how many grams are they over? Okay. So I'm going to give you a little silly way to remember how to change milligrams into grams. I call it kittens hide down under dad's car motor. And this is our unit. This is the abbreviation kilo, hecto, deca, deci, centi, milli. Milligrams is here. So this is our unit, grams. This is our milligrams. Now, just like on the number line before, let's count the jumps. We have milligrams. 1 D milligrams is just D milligrams. And we're asking ourselves, how many grams is that? So we know the milligrams, so we are at this location. Count the jumps to get to grams. And what direction are we going? So jumps in direction are really important. So we're going to go 1 to the left, 2, 3 to the left. Now the reason that we go 3 to the left is because of the fact that you technically end up dividing by 1,000. You need 1,000 milligrams to make a gram. So again, let me show you. We started here at this location. Jump 1, 2, 3 to the left. 1, 2, 3 to the left. And what's great about our number system is we are going to take the decimal and move it 3 to the left, or you can write it a few different ways. You can say I need to divide by 1,000, however many zeros you want, to go to the left. That's one way to write it. Or I need to multiply by the decimal 1/1000th. And however you do it, whether you divide the D by 1,000 or you multiply the D by 1/1000th, 0.001, see how it's 3 decimal places to the left? That is how many grams the person is over. Okay, so it would be a positive number because they are over. If they are under, you would put a negative. So now let's make sure we've answered everything they want. It says, express your answer to the nearest tenth of a gram and as a positive number if the patient exceeded the daily maximum dose, which they did, or a negative number. So they did not. They were 1 over, and so they're over, make it positive. So I thought those were really kind of just difficult problems to kind of wrap your head around. So I definitely wanted you to see that. Let's do this one. It says a person's BMI is calculated by dividing the weight in pounds by the square of the height in inches multiplied by 703. Okay, I'm going to write that. So BMI is the person's weight in pounds by the square of the height in inches. So I'm going to put a little inches squared, multiplied by 703. Okay, so pounds divided by square inches times 703. Okay. So next, what do we do with that? It says a person weighs A pounds. So where the pounds is, let's put an A. And B inches tall. So that would be a squared. Times 703. So what is their BMI? Rounded to the nearest whole number. Well, whatever you got, A and B, So let's say that someone is 150 pounds and they are 5 foot 2 inches. Okay, let's find their BMI. Okay, so one of the problems here is that 5 foot 2 inches, how many inches is that? Remember, the B has to be in inches. So this is our A. This is almost the B, but it's not in the quite format yet. Every foot is 12 inches, so do 5 times 12. That's 60 inches, plus 2 more inches. Just add those extras on. That person is 62 inches tall. So now we know the A and the B. Let's stick it into our formula we've created. So 150 divided by 62 squared times 703. So if we throw that into a calculator, remember they said to round to the nearest whole number, so that's don't round until you're done. So if you do 150 divided by 62 squared, now you could enter that into the calculator as divided by 62, or divided by 62 in parentheses squared, and then you're going to multiply by 703. And this person's BMI is 27 for a BMI. Okay, so that is a little about BMI and that formula they're looking for. Let's take a look at this one. Love these formula ones. Patient takes A milligrams less than twice the normal dose of B. Okay. How many milligrams too much did the person take? So it is supposed to take B milligrams, but it is taking A milligrams less than twice the normal dose. So this is twice the normal dose, and it's going to take A milligrams less than that. Now, that sounds kind of weird. So let's put some numbers in just to make it a little clear. Let's say we were supposed to take 10 milligrams. So twice that was 20 milligrams, but we are 5 milligrams less than twice the dose. So we really took 15 milligrams. So if sometimes I put a number in its place, so then it kind of makes a little sense. So it's not a bad idea to put some pretend numbers in there. What did I do to those pretend numbers? Okay, so how many milligrams too much did they take? So they were supposed to take the normal dose of B. This is what they take. How many milligrams too much did they take? So it's just what they took minus what they should have taken, or 2B minus A minus B is B minus A. So they took B minus A. Now let's go back to this number one to make sure our thinking is right. How much did they take? 15. How much should they have taken? 10. So they took 5 milligrams too much. So all of that should make sense. And then take a look. Is it B minus A? This was our B. This was our A. 10 minus 5 is indeed 5. So, okay. Throw some numbers in there sometimes. It'll sometimes help clarify that. Last one in this video. It says sign numbers can be used to describe position. From a starting point, forward is considered positive and negative is considered backwards. An activity requires a person to move forward and backward up a set of stairs starting from the middle step. A patient is standing on the middle step. Okay, so we're going to make a very crude, don't expect any of my drawings to be good, but and assume there's more steps because I don't really know. Okay, but they're standing on the middle step. They take A steps forward. So we're going to assume that's going up. Okay, so they step A forward. And they take C steps backwards. And then they take C steps forward. And then they take D steps backward. And then they take E steps forward. Okay, so where did they stop with regard to each, or to the middle step? Okay, so if the middle step we're going to call M, and that's kind of our zero spot, so I guess we don't even need to include that. So we went up A, down B, up C, down D, and up E. You don't need to include that positive A, but you can. Okay, so now let's do a numerical, let's put some numbers in, okay? Again, I hope I have enough steps here, but we're standing right here. So let's say we went up to, so now we're right there, okay? So we went up 2. Then we went down 4. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So now we're here. And then let's say we went up 1. So let's erase some of this so we don't get too confused here. So we went up 1, so now we're right there. And now let's say we went back down 1. So now we're back to here. And now let's say we went up 3. Wait, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. Oh, only 3 more, up 3. So now we are here. So we're going to go up 3. 1, 2, 3. So we should be back to the center. Well, let's see if my math did its thing. if all my pictures, okay, let me just maybe do it one more time. Okay, so we went up 2. We went down 4. We went up 1. We went down 1. We went up 3. Okay, so we should end up being 1 more than the original step. We should be 1 higher than the original step. So I expect to get a positive 1 answer. Okay, so let's look at our numbers here. 2 minus 4, so that is a net of down 2. Negative 2 plus 1, when they're opposite signs, we subtract and keep the higher sign. So I was down 2, but I only went up 1, so I'm still down 1. I was down 1, I went down 1 again. Now I'm down 2. I went down 2, but I'm up 3. I am up 1 again. So hopefully that clarified what happened there. Sometimes steps, like a thermometer, like let's say that you're thinking, oh, the temperature went up by 10 and down by 6 and up by 4 and down by 3, and that's a very similar way to think about it. So that is just a little bit about some of the things you're going to see in Mod 4. I hope that helps you understand that stuff. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.